Hey y'all, it's Father Bryce. As part of our Sacristan update training, I want to show you how to prepare the chalice, the paten, the ciborium, the ciboria in some cases for weekday mass and also for Sunday mass, including on Saturday afternoons. So if anyhow, in any case, you're gonna come in and retrieve the proper vessels out of the other cabinet, and then prepare the linens. So in this top cabinet, there are the purificators for the chalice, and also the hand towels for the washing of the hands. You'll need more purificators for Sunday Mass, when we also distribute the precious blood. But for now, we're just looking at this, and y'all already know how to do that. You'll also need a pall. A pall is a thing that goes over something else. So this is a pall for the chalice because it goes on top. We'll get more into that later. And at a funeral, a pall is the cloth that goes on top of the casket. So a pall is the thing that goes on top of something else. I said this is a purificator, well, because it's for purification, right? For cleaning. And then we have the corporal. Corporal comes from the Latin word for body, and this is the cloth on which the body of Christ is, the most holy Eucharist. So how we fold this is going to be very important. Note that we are using the large linen corporals that at this moment are here on the right side. We are only using the large linen corporals, which are to be changed, are to be put for laundering after the 5 p.m. Mass on Sunday, and can be used, and then the new one can be used from the first Mass on Tuesday all the way through the 5 p.m. Mass on Sunday. So we have our linens, we have our chalice, and we need a new thing, not a new thing to the church, but something that we haven't used in a while, is the chalice veil and the burse. So the veil and the burse will match the liturgical color for the day. There's more instructions about that in the paperwork. And so since it's the Easter season, we're gonna use the white one. And it's been a little bit difficult for sacristans to change the altar cloth on the altar all the time, because we used to change the altar cloth to white, red, and green, and whatever. And that's been a little difficult. And we have lots of liturgies in a day. So if it's in the morning, for morning mass, it's St. Matthias, and so it's going to be red. And then we have a funeral. Well, I guess we'd have to change it back to white or to purple or to black, but we don't do black altar cloths. And then the next morning, we could be back to white, or if it's ordinary time, we could be to green for the Liturgy of the Hours, and then for mass. And so to make things simpler, but also beautiful, we are just going to keep the altar cloth white, and instead of changing the altar cloth, we're going to change the burse. As you can see, we have all of the proper colors. So we could continue to get the same effect, but it'll be a little easier on everyone. All right. So we have all of our things. Just to show you, the corporal is folded in a very particular way because it holds the body of Christ. So you see, it's folded inside out. Is the seam here is the seam is there, and it's folded kind of inside out. Can you see that? And so when you open it, you don't have to open it. I'm going to open it at the altar, but it opens like this to where the cross is right here. So as I'm consecrating the Holy Eucharist, the paten's also there. As I'm consecrating the Holy Eucharist, it's right there over the cross. And then, again, you don't have to do this. Well, I guess if you're laundering them, you do. But as at the end of communion, I fold the corporal back, and you always fold the corporal the same way. Like in seminary, they taught us this. Like when I went to random churches in Italy when I lived in Rome, everybody in the world folds the corporal the same way, because if any little particles of the Blessed Sacrament fall right here, we want them to be as secure as possible. So obviously we are careful so that particles of the Blessed Sacrament don't fall, because that's Jesus, body, blood, soul, and divinity. But in case they do and we don't see them, we want them to be as secure as possible here in the middle. And so we do, and there's a little prayer that we can pray that actually helps us remember what we're doing. From the rising of the sun to its setting, May the name of the Lord be praised. From the rising of the sun to its setting, may the name of the Lord be praised. And then with the opening here and the fold here, the corporal goes into the burse. Many of you already know what a burse is from being extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion to the sick. That a burse is something that holds something else. The word purse and burse are actually the same word. We just use them a little differently in English. And so the corporal goes right here with this I guess seam side into the burse, and it will later be placed upon the chalice. So that's the corporal and the burse. So now let's build the chalice, they call it. Obviously the chalice is already built, but we're putting the things like they are supposed to be. So there's a chalice. This chalice we use for weekday mass, and we use it as a chalice for the people. Fancy word is an ancillary chalice. Ancillary chalice if you want to impress people, or just chalice for the people. On weekends, on 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. mass, we use this as one of the chalices for the people, along with this one. But on weekdays, we just use this chalice for the celebrant. Also, on weekdays, we use this ciborium or this paten. It's kind of between a paten and a ciborium. You see it matches the chalice perfectly. I guess they were bought together, it looks like. And we put one large piece of bread, one large host, you might call it. Though I prefer calling it bread before the consecration because, it's bread. And then after the consecration is Jesus. But we can put one large host or one large bread and 10 little ones for weekday mass. So pretend I've got the bread here. I've got the bread in here. And so I put the purificator. Then I put the paten with the bread in it. Again, pretend the bread's in here. Then I cover that with the pall. Then I take the chalice veil. I don't think I have to explain the veil. That's what it's called and what it does. Because we veil things that are sacred. And so that's a very ancient Jewish practice found in the Bible. So I hold the veil like this. Is that right? Yeah. I hold it like this. You see where the cross is? And I come over and gently down. And then it's actually very helpful if we do it this way. And then we'll show you what it looks like on the altar in a second. I have the veil. And then the burse goes on top of the veil. Just like that. And now, when it's going to be on the altar, everybody will be very clear about what the liturgical color is for the day. Whether it's white or red or green or whatever, depending upon the colors in the rainbow. There on that. We don't use rainbow ones. We use specific colors with specific meanings. On Sundays, as I mentioned, this is actually one of the ancillary chalices, and we just put the veil and so forth. The burse with the corporal inside, and the veil, and the pall, and the paten, and the purificator. We just put it on this chalice, which is again in the same closet with all the other chalices, in the wooden box. We use this one, and then because we use this ciborium and these two ciboria for communion for the people, we don't need the big. Take this off there. This is not how you take this off usually, but we can do it reverently like that. Since we have these ciboria plus the one already in the tabernacle, we don't need this bigger ciboria on the weekends for Sunday Mass, right, which includes Saturday afternoon because we celebrate the Sunday liturgy on Saturday afternoon. But instead, we use this simpler paten, and we just put the one large piece of bread here for the priest, and then we build this chalice just like we've already built this one. Okay, we've made it to the altar, but as you can see, it's a different day because the chalice veil and the burse are red. So maybe it's the feast day of one of the apostles, or it's the memorial of the North American martyrs, or something like that, where it's red. So the chalice goes right in the middle of the altar. so that when people's eyes focus on the altar, which is where the sacrifice takes place, or which is where the sacrifice of Calvary is represented, so we receive all of the graces that the Lord pours out to us. It draws people's eyes so they can enter into the mysteries of what we're celebrating. You also put the water and the wine for weekdays. The water and the wine goes on the side of the altar. For weekends, when we have altar boys or men or acolytes, the water and the wine go on the credence table, but the chalice always goes here in the center of the altar so that people's eyes can be drawn in, so that really practically we can know what we're celebrating. Oh, we're celebrating the martyrs, or if it's white, maybe it must be Easter or some other saint or something like that. If you're a little used to this, you might notice that the bowl for washing of hands in the towel is not here. I would like you, if you would please kindly just put that on the credence table. Whether we have altar boys, but men or not, you just please put that on the credence table. Why? Because these things are necessary for the offering of the sacrifice, right, of the Mass. But it seems weird, like, to wash one's hands at this most holy place, at the place where the center of the liturgical action happens, where heaven meets earth, where bread has turned into God. Just seems like, so even if it's a weekday mass, even if there's no altar boys or men or acolytes, I'll just go ahead and walk over to the credence table so as to wash my hands. You might also notice that we have restored the credence table to its original location, or at least its location in some of the pictures that I have seen. Why? Well, if the altar boys, men acolytes, are going to come and bring things to the altar, what side of the altar do they have to bring them to? The right side. Why do they have to bring them to the right side? Because if they belong to the left side, the missal, which is here, the words we're reading, praying, that we're praying together, would get in the way. And so the credence table should be on the right side so that we can just bring the things here to the right side. If you notice that the processional cross and the processional candles are behind that wall, because the church says that there should be one crucifix in the sanctuary for people to focus on, and of course ours is right there, right up above the altar. And if the priest is celebrating Mass facing the people, Pope Benedict said that it's also permissible to have a second crucifix facing the priest, so that y'all can look at that one and I can look at this one. We can pray that way together. If we were all facing the same way for Mass, then, which is preferable, but not what we do here at the moment, if we were all facing the same way for Mass, then we just have one crucifix that we could all look at together. So the crucifix is behind that wall. We'll, of course, still use it per procession. Yes. Also, if it's a weekday, if it's a Sunday Mass, in which includes Saturday afternoon, because that's a Sunday liturgy, the 3 Ciboria that I showed y'all in the first part, or in the last video, however this gets cut, the 3 Ciboria will be also on the credence table with an appropriate amount of bread in it, as is written on your handout on your instruction sheet. Thank y'all so much. I'm very grateful. We do this together, right? Our parish is growing. Great things are happening here at Our Lady of Succor. And it's not just because of me, or because of Jen, or because of Amy, or because of the Pastoral Council, the Finance Council, or it's because of all of us, right? As we work together to first live as disciples ourselves, and then second, as missionaries, empowered and motivated by our own personal relationship with Jesus, like Pope Leo told us just a few days ago. Motivated by our own personal relationship with Jesus, his disciples, we go out as missionary disciples, proclaiming gospel. So our parish is growing, exciting things are happening because of him and because of us, all of us, together cooperating with him. So thank you for your service, and we'll see you at Max.